A confident man demonstrates value to a woman naturally and closes effortlessly. All right, I'm Paul. This is Text Game Fridays. Like the video, share the video, and get on apexmindset.net if you want to book some time with me. Let's get into the topic. So before we get into his text, I want to just review the flow chart. Okay, so your goal is to get the meetup, right? You can't have sex with a girl, can't build anything else if you don't meet up with her. All right. So a lot of you guys tend to waste your time on bantering and back and forth, and you don't know how to move it towards a close. So you need to be moving the exchange that you're in towards the meetup. The close, when I say close, that's the meetup. Okay. And so this is a format for how to make that happen. You're going to have the initial contact or opener, right? So that's your opener, that's your contact. Now, from the initial contact, either she opened you or you opened her, you're building curiosity right away. So she doesn't know you from anybody else. If she's a hot girl, she's got a lot of attention on these apps. So you need to make her curious about you in order for her to want to take anything further and meet up with you. All right. So that curiosity is demonstrated by her usually asking you a question and wanting to be continually sort of engaged with you in this discussion. Little one word answers or dead end answers aren't demonstrating much of a curiosity. Remember, women will steal your attention and your time. They use that to build their self esteem. Okay. There's an evolutionary wiring behind that. And so you don't want to be the person that she's just enjoying the attention that you're giving her without having there be any payoff in that. Okay. So you don't want to give away that attention. Um, so you want to be moving it towards a meetup. So after curiosity, she's curious. Okay. You want to be building an investment and fantasy. You're not an actual person yet to her. You're an avatar on the internet. So you got to keep that in mind with these exchanges. Some of you guys get a little bit too wrapped up in that, where you think, well, she has to have genuine burning desire for me. Yeah, that's true, but she doesn't know who you are yet, right? She can't build true rapport with you because she's not in person with you. All right. We're social animals and we've evolved to be face to face and person to person contact with someone. However, you can build the idea of being with you. The idea of being in a sexual situation with you or just being on a date with you or building something with you. You want to build that idea. That's building in fantasy. And you want her to be invested in that fantasy. Well, this guy seems really cool. He seems hot. He seems like he'd be a lot of fun. He seems like he'd be good at banging me. So I want to go see him and see if my intuition is correct. Right. And so that's what you're doing in this conversation. You're building investment. You're building that fantasy so that she becomes more invested in the fantasy of being with you, right? And once she's invested in the fantasy of being with you, in her head now, she's desiring actually wanting to meet you, wanting to be with you. The whole point, though, is that you're moving her towards the close. All right. I think a lot of you guys like the attention that you're getting from a woman, and you think, you're wanting it to go somewhere, whatever it may be. And you're caught up in the fantasy of her rather than getting her caught up in the fantasy of you. And you're not moving things towards a close fast enough. Just because you're building curiosity, investment, fantasy, that doesn't mean you're not moving it towards a meetup. The goal or the end state is a meetup. There's a lot of you guys who are asking for my advice. Some of you guys are my clients who are trying to, that's the one thing I notice a lot is that reluctance to close. Sometimes I notice closing too fast, where it's you want that genuine desire. So you're just basically like, hey, let's meet up. And you're not building any investment or fantasy or even curiosity. It's just like, hey, let's meet up. Hey, let's meet up. And of course, you're getting rejected all over the place with that. And then, of course, then guys blame the women for that. But it's not really their fault. You're not building this investment or fantasy. She has no investment in you. She has no idea or thoughts of wanting to be with you. She's not even curious about you. So why the hell would she meet up with you? You know what I mean? So some of you guys close too early. And then I also see a reluctance to close a lot from a lot of guys where they're not moving it towards that. And also think of the reason why you're closing with this girl, right? You're not meeting up with her to, I don't know, play World of Warcraft or something. And right, you're meeting up with her because you want a sexual exchange. Don't lose sight of that either. All right. Some of you guys are afraid to build that seduction. Within this fantasy, there should be a sexual undertone that you want to build right away. Now let's get into the text. This gentleman writes, please rip me apart with your best criticism and critique and avoid apologizing for anything. Well, I don't really apologize very often about stuff, but that's all right. I am polite, though. Try not to be a dick. I believe I eliminated anything which could identify her, so go ahead and use it. Awesome. So see how this guy did this? Just want to show you guys. This is the main reason why I wanted to show this one. He did an awesome breakdown here. He put notes on the side so I know what's going on for the most part, and he censored it for me so that I don't have to try to find time to do that on top of everything else. If I'm happy to help you guys out at no cost to you, if you send me your messages and exchanges on these Text Game Fridays, but help me help you, right? So she opens him. All right. When a girl opens you, that's a high indicator of interest. You can move to a meetup right away. You can try to sexualize. If you're calibrated, you can sexualize quickly. All right. You're going to see later in this conversation, she's begging for this conversation to be sexualized. All right. And it's not happening. And that's a problem. So that's first lesson is remember, sex is a part of the goal here. And so that can't be ignored. And so you have to have a seductive undertone when it's appropriate with these connections. So he starts off, well, hello, 21 years. I don't really get this that much. He's saying that his profile states he was married for blank years. Her profile states that she recently got out of a blank year relationship. So he's 21 years, huh? Was she in a relationship for 21 years? Holy crap. So, okay, that's another thing. All right. So I think you're 48 years old. If I'm a guy right here, then I'm not. I know who you are, but I don't want to dox you on the YouTube. So I think you're 48. Okay. So I just talked to a guy yesterday who was seeing a 28-year-old. He was like in his mid 50s. All right. So I'm just going to put that out there. I'm not saying don't date or hook up with older women. If she's hot and you like her, hey, who am I to say, right? You do what you do you. Okay. A lot of the guys who share this stuff, like and talk about pickup, they're like dudes who their audience is 20 something guys who are sitting around in a 1-room apartment trying to get girls to come over from Tinder to go bang them. Right. Well, a lot of you guys aren't, that's not most of my clients, a lot of my clients are not those guys. You know what I mean? So a lot of you guys are high value men. So the guy who sent this stuff over, it is in this exchange. He's been divorced. He's high value. He makes a good income. He travels when he wants to. He does what he wants, has a nice house I think it's oceanfront house. So he is high value guy and he's a decent shape. He's a decent looking guy in his late 40s. So you don't have to pigeonhole yourself to a woman in her 40s. If you find a woman in your 40s that you like, go for it. I'm not going to tell you not to. And there may be some benefits to that depending on her and where you're at, but you can be dating women that are younger. Okay. You don't have to do that. And in fact, I kind of recommend it a lot of times because you're going to be smashing your head against the wall with some of these women who are over 40, especially. And women watching this, if you're offended by that, I don't care. Make yourself better. Be the exception. The fact of the matter is most women over 40, I'll even say over 35, are hard to be with, okay, for a number of reasons. So that's just a thing. So I know you're also, I think, on Match.com. That tends to be an app in most places for that age demographic, divorced, older, whatever. You're going to run into a lot of single mommies there. You're going to run into a lot of divorced women there. Some of those women are fine. They're good matches, but that's going to be a small percentage, right? So, just keep that stuff in mind. So anyways, moving on. So he talks about the relationship. I don't know if I would have started with that, but that's here nor there. Do I want to bring up her past relationship and all that stuff as the first thing I talk about? Probably not. You know what I'm saying? She opened to you, dude. You could have said anything you wanted here. Okay. You could have pivoted to anything you wanted, and you chose to talk about her past relationship. Wouldn't have been what wouldn't have been my first point of discussion. So your 2220 was my 2015, keeping your, keep your sanity. So she was interested in you. So there's a connection there, and that's cool. So haha, completely. I found it about 3 months ago. That's a nice photo. Utah. I'm going to guess you travel a bit. All right, so good. You pivoted now here. I wasn't there that impressed with bringing it, talk about her past relationship as the first thing you talk about, but you pivoted to travel. Travel is a great thing to bring up, because that can put you in a fantasy really quickly. So if she opens, she's already curious. All right. So you want to be building investment in fantasy here. You're already there because she's curious about you, or she wouldn't have opened you. All right. So you're talking about travel. That's cool. So she goes, I love to travel. And yes, Moab. So she's in Utah. And I'm guessing you like to travel as well. To know where that is. I do. I've been heading south for the winter the past few years. So greetings from Lake Havasu. Okay. So this is good, right? You're dropping what's called demonstration of higher value. So confident men do this naturally without thinking about it. Okay. So for example, the reason why this is not live, okay, like to usually do these lives and answer those questions in the chats. The reason this isn't live is because I'm going to be shooting this weekend. So, if I was in exchange or talk with somebody, I'd be like, yeah, I got to go away for 4 days. I'm going to be traveling through a couple different states, doing some shooting for the military, and I'll be back next week. What are you up to? Okay. So that's a DHV right there. I'm doing something cool. All right. I'm not trying to show that off. That's just what I'm doing. But it's going to be natural the way that I present that. It's going to happen naturally in a conversation. Now, some of you guys need to have this analysis because you're not good at natural conversations. You're not good at being socially calibrated with women. So that's why we're doing this, so you can learn. All right. But I will drop, and any confident guy will drop demonstrations of higher value in the conversation without even thinking about it or putting effort into it. So when you drop your DHVs, that's what you want to make it look like. Like it's pretty much effortless. It's just part of your life and what you're doing. And if your life is interesting and high value and you're a high value person, then the things you say about that or reference it or reference with what you're doing is going to come across that way. Now, a contrary example would be if I said, oh yeah, I've been super busy and I had to close down my work, which sucks. And then I got to sleep outside and hang out and do stuff with a, National Guard for a few weeks, for a few days. And, that then it's just going to suck. It's be a sucky weekend. And then I got to try to catch up on work on Monday. Okay. That's not demonstrating anything high value at all, right? Same thing, same story. I'm going to go shoot for the military. Not really good DHV though there, right? In fact, I'm really negative in how I present that thing. I'm a negative mindset guy. All right. Some of you guys will talk to women and you'll do that. You'll present, oh yeah, I'm so busy. Oh, well, I got a crappy weekend plan. I mean, it's going to suck. All right. Who wants to hang out with you if that's what you're doing? Right. So anything you do, like ordinary stuff, if it's can be presented as if it's a high value thing. It's all about having confidence in yourself and feeling good about yourself and feeling good about the choices you make and what you're doing. And if you have those things in order, the game sort of happens on its own in this case, right? So that's what happens here. He is greetings from Lake Havasu. So he's out someplace, right? So you enjoy Arizona and Southern Nevada, the area. So now they're talking about travel. So now she says, okay, not well, but Google is great. I've been to the Painted Desert and Petrified Forest, and of course the Grand Canyon and the Hoover Dam, and of course Reno and Vegas and Tahoe. Okay. So she's now investing a bit, right? She's investing in this conversation. She's telling more about herself here. All right. And she was asking questions of him. So that's demonstrating an investment. All right. That's good. They're talking about traveling, going someplace. It says greeting from Lake. So this is also a DHV that's being naturally presented because a man of low value does not have the resources to travel right? A man of high value does. So he's demonstrating that. So then he says, it's settled then. Since we're dating now, pack your shit. We're leaving tomorrow afternoon. Flight to Vegas, pack something sexy for a nice evening dinner. Okay. It puts her in the fantasy of dating him. Okay. So it's kind of funny or whatever. She goes, haha. Now, I don't know here between haha and that was an amazing trip if that was a reopen. I'm assuming yes. Okay. I'm assuming the conversation wouldn't go haha, and then your next thing you would say was that was an amazing trip. That would be kind of weird if that's how it went, but that's okay. Okay. I mean, because okay, your pivot from here, from this, when she goes haha, I might say, I don't want to wake up in a bathtub with my kidneys missing. Why don't we have a drink first before we start taking trips? Something like that. Okay. So it's a joke. I don't want to wake up in a bathtub with my kidneys missing. I'm making a joke about being in a risk, right? So women, when they're on dating apps and stuff, there is a concern about her going into a risky situation. They don't want to be embarrassed, or they don't want it to be awkward, or they don't want to be out with an awkward guy or whatever, or a guy that's their like biggest concern, is that they're going to waste an evening and have a awkward or bad evening that does something bad for their self-esteem. They want to go out with the hot guy that, provides for them a good evening that goes smooth and that isn't an awkward or bad situation. So their biggest fear is actually their social anxiety more than anything else. But there is a bit of that safety fear too. So when you make jokes about that stuff, it can diminish that. If I make a joke like, okay, the joke is she's going to, drug me and then take my kidneys, right? Like that's the joke. These are things that you can do, right? And it's kind of funny or whatever. But that's how I would have closed this right here, man, because she is demonstrating she demonstrated interest and curiosity because she opened you. You're already talking a bit about travel and stuff like that. And so it's kind of putting her in a bit of a fantasy mindset. She's asking you questions and giving you full answers, which means that she has an investment. And so then I would move right into the meetup and the close. I wouldn't banter around with this too much more. All right. And that's why I wanted to use this as an example. I feel like there's a lot of times there's too much of a buildup, and a lot less of the closing. And understand when you go for the close, if she can't or she kind of whatever, you can reopen or continue conversation and try to close again. You can try to close you can go for the close a couple times, all right, as things build. Oh, and sometimes when she doesn't close, that ends up being a good pivot to build investment in fantasy more. Because all right, so just there's a little bit of limiting beliefs here. Like a lot of guys are going for the perfect close and they feel like if she rejects this close that somehow that's a problem. Not really. All right. So anyway, so this was good. When you say that, we're dating now, pack your shit, we're leaving tomorrow, blah blah blah, she goes haha. Now that wasn't much of an answer there, right? Of course, but I would have probably said, yeah, you're right. I need to know I'm not going to wake up in a bathtub with my kidneys missing on a trip. So how about we just get a drink first? You know what I mean? And then put a laugh face or something, or a wink or something. And then see what she says after that. And if she goes, yeah, we should probably do that, or we should probably meet or whatever, or I don't know, maybe she says, what, no trips? Fine. I guess I'll settle for coffee or something like that. If she helps you out and gives that kind of an answer, then you move to a close. Okay. So that's what I would have done here instead of dicking around here. Well, anyways, so he comes up with, that's an amazing trip. I'm going to assume that he reopened her and that the conversation was dead after the haha. Okay. So she goes, oh, those are over multiple trips. I don't know what she means by that. You have to appreciate where you are. Okay. So he says, you caught me in a chair under a clear sky and stars with crickets in the background. So yes, I agree. Good. Let's see another natural DHV. So that's one thing you're doing well, is that you're giving natural DHVs here without trying hard. That's good. Okay. So then she says, and the London Bridge there does not compare to the one in England, but is still good. He says, are you English? So that's also good. Talk about ethnicity, background, where you're from. That can be a good thing to try to, talk about as far as non-sexual banter. No, but lived in Germany and went on vacation to England. Do you have an accent? I've been to France and Holland 3 times. Love to hear them speak. So again, all DHV is about travel, but you're sort of stuck on this travel conversation right now. And I mean, again, pivoting to some sexual undertones, pivoting to some different topics is probably a thing that you might want to do here. So then she goes, but she's still engaged. So that's cool. When I get excited, my New England accent comes out. And so you say New England, and then I won't, she wrote it, but for censorship, it was like F-ity F-er. Okay. But talking about F word, right? And Shaq's swimming in the ocean. All right. So he's joking around about her New England accent. A little bit of a nag, a little bit of a joke, a little bit playful. That's a good thing. She goes, haha, go a little further north, but F is my favorite word. It's the most versatile word ever. All right. So now that's an opener to move into sexual banter. Okay. This girl is interested in you. She opened you. She demonstrated investment, demonstrated curiosity, demonstrating investment, getting into a little bit of fantasy with you, or at least not shying away from that. We'll put it like that. And now she's getting into the F word. So she wants to get banged, dude. And right now, this is a time where you'd open it up. I mean, so if she said, F is my favorite word or something like that, I'd say, wow, we have so much in common. F's one of my favorite things to do, right? Might be one. I might say that F1 is one of my favorite things to do. So we have so much in common. Put a laugh face there, right? Might be what I say. I'm going to take it now into a little bit of a sexual banter here with some calibration. So you go into my kind of woman, and I got to hear it. Video chat is a must. All right. So if the meetup is going to be directly like come over, some women might need a video chat. Okay. Using voice to text is good too, because she can hear your voice. Having a phone call is good too. So it used to be old school pickup. We just sort of set the date and meet up, right? And you didn't text banter very much at all. But nowadays, especially throw in a pandemic, there's a little bit more investment that needs to be built over this text messaging. So that's where, a video can be appropriate. When you move her off the app to your social media, the social media should be your landing page, though, of course. In other words, everything should be presented as a brand of you in your social media. You have good photos, you have good demonstration of value on your social media account, your Instagram or Facebook, that allows her to stalk you and become a little bit more invested in you. And then it also allows you to stalk her, meaning you can, check her photos out, check her stuff, and make sure that you're vetting her a little bit too. So doing that or doing a video chat's cool, but I'm only doing that if I'm moving to a close. So I might say, yeah, cool, let's meet up. And then if I see a little bit of reluctance or something, I might say, why don't let's video chat real quick, or let's call real quick, set up logistics, right? In the beginning, if I get some investment and I can't move it to a close, so let's say you're traveling. Again, a lot of you guys are high value guys. You travel a lot. You're talking to women in a different area, and can't meet up with her right away, and that happens. That's cool. Move it to social media then, that way you can be like, hey, I'm traveling a lot. I'm not on this app very often. Do you have Instagram or Facebook? All right. Now, if she gives you her Instagram or Facebook or exchange there, which this girl would have, that's also an investment move on her part. She's investing by giving you that information, right? She exchanges WhatsApp or phone number. For some of you guys overseas, my English guys over in England and guys over in Europe and all over, not in the United States, WhatsApp is a real popular way of communicating. So she moves you to WhatsApp, she moves you to text message, those are all demonstrations of interest, right? That's demonstrating her investment. So those are good things to do. So video chat's good, but I'm doing it in the context of the meetup, and I'm only doing it if she's reluctant usually, or if I sense a little bit of tension, a little too much tension, where I know I need to give her some comfort so she knows that I'm safe basically for her to go have sex with, right? That's how I use video chat, but it seems like here, there hasn't been any talk other than the joke about going, which is more of a fantasy thing, going to Vegas together or something. There's not really a talk about meeting up, and now you're just sort of moving it into a video chat, and it's sort of like video chat is a must. So it's like, it's like you're pining for her non-sexual time and attention is what this comes across at, and that's not good. You need to be getting her sexual time and attention. All right. So this can put you in a category of being seen as more of the beta and not seductive. All right. So you don't want to do it this way. So especially like a video chat is a must. It seems like you're pining for it in a sense. So she says, so a girl that says F a lot and is strong does not scare you. I may or may not teach, but I've never slipped saying the F word. She doesn't address your video chat thing at all. You notice that? So her investment and attraction is going the other way at this point. All right. And that's because you didn't sexualize or move it into a meetup. I'm going to tell you right now, that's why. So she gets stuck on that and talks about you being scared. So see how she's actually giving me a little bit of a shit test there. And it's like, oh, so this doesn't scare you because you didn't move it into something a little bit more seductive. She's assuming that you don't have the balls, to be honest with you. So then you go, oh, please, my sister and daughter make most dudes back down. I don't push around. I can't be trained. All right, so this is a you thing I'm going to address. You seem to like to say this a lot with women because we've had other consults. You demonstrate this. This isn't anything you talk about. You know what I mean? Oh, I don't get pushed around. I can't be trained. Like when you say stuff like that, it comes across actually as weak. You know what I mean? Now, in the context of a certain individual that I was coaching you about, it was okay in that context. But for the most part, you want to avoid this. All right, because that to me sounds like, if I'm saying that all the time, I can't be pushed around. It's like you're basically saying that you can be pushed around and you're trying to convince everybody else that you can't be. That's how it comes across, and I know that's not actually how it is, but it's like a red pill thing. You're trying to let women know that you're dominant and assertive. You can't be pushed around. And it's not, it's not being executed well here. I think that you need to just do it, demonstrate, right? Don't explain it, or don't even get into that crap. So so you say that, she says nice. She doesn't know what else to say to you. That's why she said that. So you respond with, so a man who doesn't give an F or give the slightest two shits when women lose her shit isn't scary to you. All right. So you right here, my intent is to playfully let her know I don't bend and that feminist BS. All right. So you're very like hypersensitive about feminist BS. I know the area that you're in has a lot of feminists. Look, just don't entertain it. You know what I mean? You seem to want to like challenge it all the time with this stuff. I wouldn't do it. So, you're kind of, we'll say you're trying to shit test her on the feminist thing. Don't do it. You know what I mean? Just as if, dude, you're a dominant man. You don't need to address that crap. You know what I mean? She goes, nope. And define losing her stuff. Right. So she's vetting you out right now instead of investing and being built into a fantasy. That's not good. So you say, haha, that's a setup question. F you. So then she, okay, like I get it. You're trying to be whatever. It's fine. This is stupid conversation right now. She goes, no, it's not. I promise, pinky swear, figuring out your F meter between 1 and 10. So I guess you're given F meter. So she's now vetting you out now. She's testing you, vetting you out. This should be a sexual banter right now, not this conversation. Okay. You say, I'll answer in a video chat, darling. I don't know what the darling thing is. I don't really get that. I wouldn't do that anymore. Stop saying darling. Okay. Yeah. If you're in a sexual banter, if you're in a situation of sexual banter and she is calling you things like pet names or something, that's okay, but I wouldn't do that here. You know what I mean? Now she does say, "Oh, sugar, you start the video in about 10 minutes. I'll have to let my dogs out and feed them." So, yeah. Anyway, this conversation got really painful. I will say, notice something here. All right, one thing I like about doing this is this woman is clearly older, past 35. I would say she's probably in her early 40s or maybe late 30s, probably early 40s, based on the banter that's going on here. The way that a woman talks who's that age is different than the way a woman talks and exchanges in text when she's in her early 20s. You can tell a distinct difference when you talk to a lot of women, especially in my position where I'm consulting with a lot of guys who are talking to women of different demographics, ages. And so it's interesting to note. But understand, so here's the reason why for that. Besides there's a generational gap, but it's more than that. It's actually a clear communication gap. What you have is born, I usually use 1990 as the marker. All right. If someone is born after 1990, that means they grew up their entire adult and preteen and teenage life with internet as an integral part of their life. Okay. So when they were 10 years old, the year 2000, internet was on the rise. By the time they were freshmen, sophomore in high school, communication through the internet and MySpace eventually, and some of these things became more commonplace. So with the introduction of technology, we moved into a global sexual marketplace. We weren't in a global sexual marketplace prior to this internet communication exchange. We are now in a global sexual marketplace after the internet. So that's why I use 1990 when a chick was born as a good marker. And so you're dealing with a different way of communicating. So for example, someone I was talking to the other day, or as a common thing, but someone was talking to on game stuff matched with an 18-year-old. All right. Now he was old enough to date her, put it like that. Right. But she was a very young girl. She's 18. She's also hot. So she's getting inundated with attention. They did a match, had a quick exchange, and I had him just send her memes. All right. It was the way the conversation went. They were just meme exchanging for like, several days. And then after meme exchanging, then he has struck up a normal conversation. And the conversation, her investment and fantasy and curiosity went up, right? You couldn't do that with a 40-year-old woman. Probably. You're probably not just exchanging memes with a 40-year-old woman. She would have no idea what's going on in this conversation. You see what I'm saying? And it's not just a maturity thing. It's just because you have completely different ways of learning to communicate and how people grew up and interact with the world. So understanding these communications is really essential to game when we're talking about dealing with different age levels. Some guys give advice and it only works in the women in their 20s. Some guys give advice and it only works on women in their 40s, so we want to cover all our bases here. But anyways, back to this exchange. He's trying to get her on this video chat. She's just sort of appeasing him. It's really a tired conversation though. And so then they're going through it. Okay, have you pushed the button for it to work? No, then it won't work. Are you already flaking on me? No. How do I get it to work? And anyways, they're dicking around here. And it's kind of like, it's almost like she's being pressured into this video exchange. It's kind of weird. She doesn't know what she's doing either. Remember, she's trying to build something with you. Luckily, she sees you as high enough value to continue with this. But honestly, we've lost that attraction a little bit here. So then it says here, she flaked and I tried to playfully demonstrate it was negative behavior with consequences. Yeah, dude, she flaked because the attraction went away. You see, so that's where this goes. I mean, her attraction sort of went away, but she's not getting, if she's at the age I think that she's not getting inundated with attention from men. So she wants your attention and she'll take up your attention. She'll waste your time. She is not busy. Okay. Where you are busy. She's not busy. She'll waste your time. She's not a 25-year-old Instagram model who has her inbox full, so she has all this time in the world to have this conversation with you and to dick around with this to boost her own self-esteem, but it's not moving in the direction of the close, right? And that's the problem here. And so we've now gotten into this dull video chat situation where she's kind of, it looks like she didn't video chat with you at all here based on what you said, that she flaked. And she goes, can I let you know when I'm off the phone, not ditching you, but I've known her longer, so there is a priority. So now she's putting her friend over you. She's shit testing you. It's not going well here. You're buying the first drink, looking forward to it. I will totally buy the first drink. You ready? Do you have a drink? All right. So now you're making this happen. Gin and tonic. All right. So you're doing this video thing, but I don't like the way that this happened. Okay. So now, all right. So 20-minute phone call. All right. So now you at least get her in a phone call. But I'm telling you, younger, hotter girl wouldn't have even done all this. All right. I kept frame, briefly answered questions while volunteering no information. I gave her room to talk about herself. She appeared slightly nervous. Yeah, so she's going to be nervous because you're higher SMV. Girls get nervous at high SMV guys. The problem is I don't think you see yourself as higher SMV. So you need to stop thinking that way. You need to see yourself as a higher sexual market value. You're higher sexual market value than this girl, dude. Not that she's unattractive. All right. During the call, I stated that I only associate with people that I would wager as being good people. So I always give them the benefit of the doubt. All right. So can't believe I'm saying this. I really enjoyed the conversation, but I'm tipsy and thank you. Did not expect this from Tinder. Oh, so it is Tinder, not Match. That's cool. So, all right. So good, dude. So you salvaged it with this video chat, sort of. She seems happy. She had good feelings and all that. You made that happen. Struggled to make that happen. So retraction went down, but didn't go so far down that she wasn't going to talk to you. And so that's a good thing. So you kind of left it off where she had triple texted you, and then you said that you're going to re-engage her when you get back from being out of town and then set up a meeting. You had the video chat. She was giving you problems during that, struggling, but I told you why, right? You needed to sexualize that conversation sooner, and you needed to move it towards a close sooner because you wasted a lot of time and banter and stuff. And she luckily had enough attraction for you to continue, but there wasn't a lot of tension built there, not in a good way. Now you recovered it in conversation because you are better in conversation than you are in text. All right. Because I know you, so I know that about you. So that is good. And then now the only thing is you need to close. So she ended it with like a trip. She was happy with the conversation. She was pleasantly surprised, all that. The reason why she said she was pleasantly surprised, though, you understand that, right? Is that conversation took a turn for the worst and her attraction started to go down. She thought she was going to have this video chat with you and it was going to be awkward and annoying. And that was not and it ended up being a good chat because your in-person face-to-face connection and game was good. So that was good. But next time, don't let it drop off into a thing where she's questioning whether this is even a good idea or not. And that's why you met resistance and shit testing and stuff for her to even doing the video chat with you. Okay. But you salvaged it on the video chat. Good job. And then next thing is she was happy of it. You left her on a high, which was good. You always want to leave the conversation with her on a high. Now I wouldn't text her again or mess around with it. Just get home. When you're done traveling, reopen her, ask her how she's been, move to a close. That's it. You know what I mean? And don't waste your time with it. So overall, a lot of good things there, a lot of things to improve on too, right? Hopefully you guys got a lot of value out of that. If you're someone who is texting younger girls, that conversation is going to go way different. She's under 30. That's a whole different communication dynamic. Okay. This girl is clearly over 30, and I would say probably closer to 40, if not even a little older. Okay. And you can tell based on how that conversation dynamic went and how things went there, which is fine. A lot of you guys who watch my channel are in your 40s, 50s, and are looking at dating girls in their late 30s. And for whatever reason, you're not, dating younger, and that's fine. So it doesn't matter what her age is. You need to move it into a seduction when those openers are there. When she's open, you need to be able to recognize when she's kind of opening it up to move into a sexual undertone, move into building that sexual tension. And you need to be not afraid to do that. That's part of the fantasy too. Okay. So hopefully guys learn from that. Thanks again. Till next time.